Christianity first arrived in Japan in 1549, and the Japanese embraced Christianity.
Ultimately, it's something like 300,000 to 500,000 people were converted to Christianity. And gradually, Christianity comes under persecution, leading to large-scale martyrdoms of Christians in Japan. And Christianity seemingly was wiped out in Japan. But it wasn't.
Very few people know about the tremendous Christian history of Japan, and it's going to be featured at the Museum of the Bible, perhaps the largest Bible museum in the world.
Museum of the Bible is located right on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., just a few blocks from the nation's capital. The museum's focus is the history of the Bible, the stories of the Bible, and the impact of the Bible. We wanted people not to think of the Bible as a boring, dusty old book, but something that's intriguing and active and interesting and that pulls people in and that is worth exploring more, that it has this rich history and continues to be impactful in our world today. We have 430,000 square feet of public space here in the museum. The exhibits were done by professional exhibition developers with a wide range of scholars from all kinds of areas of study. And this is a museum that's on par with anything in Washington and anything in the world. Because we're a global museum and work with numerous international partners, we wanted to have an exhibit that focused on Japan. So what we hope to show in the exhibit is how Christianity flourished for quite some time and how Christians persevered through some very difficult times. There's a rich and interesting history that's not very well known.
Christianity begins in Japan when St. Francis Xavier first arrives in Japan. People began to convert by the thousands, and what's fascinating about Japan is it's the daimyo and the samurai that are actually converting as well.
Then, in 1597, the fiercest persecution began and Christianity was nearly wiped out of Japan. And so the Japanese had to practice their faith secretly. They became called the Kakure Christians.
These are people who, at great risk to themselves, continue to practice Christian rituals, continue to share the prayers and the stories in the Bible.
At the end of World War II, Japan was under the command of General Douglas MacArthur. He was the commander in charge of making sure that Japan went through a transition from wartime Japan to peaceful Japan.
And at that time, MacArthur called for 10,000 Christian missionaries and 10 million Bibles for Japan.
What the United States ensured was to partner with Japan to help it emerge from the ashes of the war.
Links between America and Japan were reestablished, and the church and the Bible was helpful and continues to be helpful in promoting reconciliation and understanding between nations.
In 2019, I had the honor of participating in the Pope Francis visit to Japan. Tens of thousands of people came to see the Pope in Hiroshima, in Nagasaki, and Tokyo. The reception in Japan was just extraordinary. We basically said the world needs to learn about the history of Christianity in Japan. We need to celebrate it. And when the opportunity came to hold this exhibit in the Museum of the Bible in D.C., we jumped at it. To hold an exhibit such as what we're planning will require somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 to $2 million to not just prepare the exhibition space, but to transfer some of the archives and some of the artifacts that are in Japan and maybe even in Rome. We're hoping that we can collect these, have them exhibited at the Museum of the Bible so that we do a proper and respectful presentation.
You know, we're reaching out to corporations large and small.
And we want them to become involved with us, not just for promotion, but we want them to become involved with us because this is something that is honorable and good for the Japanese people. And we see this project as something that is crucial for our world today.
You know, what excites me about this exhibition is that people will see the tremendous story of the Japanese Christians. I think it really needs to be known because it's tremendously inspirational.
The vision that we have is that people from all over the world will be able to understand the amazing history of Christianity in Japan.